Hello, Portchester families. We are so excited that so many of our district families have picked up Chromebooks from the school to support with this year's virtual learning initiative. We wanted to share with you these slides from some of the in-person parent nights that we had done, just letting you know a little bit about the Chromebook. So within this, we will go over two things today. We're going to talk about getting to know the Chromebook, and we're going to also talk about tips for maintaining a positive learning environment at home. And if you would like to view this video in Spanish, we do have that up as a separate recording. Now, with Chromebooks, I wanted to share with you a couple of the reasons that we use Chromebooks in Portchester. So Chromebooks do have built-in security protection, which is very important for us with our students. They also have a long battery life, which could last for up to 6 hours or even longer, depending on usage. And the other thing that's great about our Chromebooks is that the student files sync to any device. So if there happens to be a problem with your Chromebook over time, you will not lose any of your child's files because they will be synced to every device your child logs in on. Now with the Chromebooks do require a Wi-Fi connection to be connected to the internet. So this symbol is the Wi-Fi logo. And one of the initiatives that we have taken this year in 2020 to 2021 is we have a partnership with Optimum Wi-Fi to provide Wi-Fi access for our families as they are learning at home. So if you do not have Wi-Fi access at your home, you can call your building and the secretary will provide you with additional information on what they need to be able to obtain Wi-Fi access. They may need a number from your device, and that will allow you to connect to the Optimum network. Now, once you have obtained the district Wi-Fi through Optimum, it might take a little bit of time to process, but once your information gets to Optimum and they approve the account, what will happen is when you open up the Chromebook, it will ask you to select a Wi-Fi network, and you can choose the Optimum Wi-Fi network that is unlocked, and it will register your computer within a minute or so. And these would be the steps that you would take after you have already called your building to set up the Wi-Fi access. Now, since these Chromebooks are technological devices, we wanted to share with you a couple of tips for taking care of the Chromebook. So the first tip would be no food or drink near the Chromebook. We want to be sure that we don't have any liquids spilling on the keys or any crumbs going into the keys because that would damage the device. The second tip would be handle your Chromebook with care. So this would mean to be sure to have your Chromebook is on a flat surface when you are using it. If your child is carrying it from one place to another, be sure they're holding it securely with 2 hands and making sure that we don't stack anything on top of the Chromebook if we leave it on the table. The next tip is to charge your Chromebook. This might include charging it overnight or also charging it possibly during your child's lunch break, but we want to be sure that the device remains charged throughout the entire day so that your child can engage in the virtual learning with their teacher. And the last thing would be that when you're using your Chromebook, you want to be sure to wash your hands before you use it, particularly if you have food or crumbs on your hands, and that will just be to help keep the Chromebook clean. Now there are a couple of parts of the Chromebook that will just point out to you. So there is the screen. This is the part where the arrow is pointing over there, and this is the part where the images change as we move around the Chromebook. The Chromebook also has a keyboard with all of the letters and numbers to type, and there is a trackpad as well. And the trackpad is what's used to move around, kind of like a mouse on a computer would be used. The other thing to point out here is that the Chromebook does only have one camera, and that camera is facing the students. So that's something that if you are taking a picture or taking a video with the Chromebook, you want to just be sure that you know where the camera is there. There is also a charger port on the side of the Chromebook. And the other thing is there is a headphone plug, and depending on which model Chromebook you picked up from the school, this would be on either side of the Chromebook, and you'd be able to recognize its location by that little headphone logo next to the plug. The other thing to mention is that your Chromebook does have a power button, so if you do open it up and the Chromebook is not on, you can press and hold the power button for 3 seconds to turn it on. And the last thing to mention is the volume keys. So there are 3 volume keys in the top of the keyboard. The first one turns the volume off entirely. The next one would turn the volume lower, and the third button would make the volume higher. And with this, you will notice when you touch these keys that this icon will appear on the screen, which will manage the volume higher and lower. And the last part of this video is we just wanted to share with you a couple of tips for maintaining a positive learning environment at home. We are so appreciative of our families who are working to support their children in their schoolwork at home, and we just wanted to share with you 4 brief tips for making this process a little bit easier on our students as they engage in this virtual learning or hybrid learning model. So the first tip would be to set a routine. You want to be sure that just like if your child was going to the actual school building, you want to be sure you have your child get dressed in the morning, eat breakfast, and follow a school schedule while taking breaks to be sure that they're getting up and moving away from the computer momentarily so that they're not sitting at the computer the entire time. The second thing would be to set up a study space. You want to be sure that there is a quiet, clean space in your house where your child is able to engage in their work without the distractions of video games or television in the background. And the third tip would be to check in. You want to be sure to check in consistently along with the teacher's schedule, to ask questions if you need to set expectations for your children, and to follow through to be sure that they are engaging with their schedule the way they need to be. And the last tip would be to motivate your child. This is a challenging environment for our students to adjust to, but we also know that our students are resilient and they are able to do anything they put their minds to. But we just want to be sure that we praise our children for getting onto the computer and getting their work done, that we are persistent with them with following through on any assignments, and that as much as we can help them find answers and set a positive tone for the day to make this a positive experience for our students and our families and our teachers. So with this, we want to thank you for watching this brief video, and I want to encourage you to check out our school website, portchesterschools.org, because there we will have additional parent videos for support as well as information on any upcoming parent workshops that we are offering. Thank you to our families for your continued support at home, and we know that we will get through this virtual and hybrid year together.